Hey guys, how's it going? Here we are with the Raza Overheal. Um, I guess we'll start right off with Raza the Resealed. After you play this card, it makes your hero power refresh every time you play another card. So ideally, you want to use if you've already cast Raza, you want to use your hero power and then play your next card to get your hero power back. And your hero power is healing, and you'll see why that's so important here. But let's start at the top, and we'll go through it. So here we have Anduin's Gift. Um, you get a temporary Power Word Shield, Shadow Word Pain, or Mind Control. So temporary being if you don't use it this turn, it's going to disappear. The Power Word Shield gives a minion 2 health, and you draw a card, but it also costs 1. So you got to plan on having 2 mana before you use this. Don't use it when you've got only 1 mana. Otherwise, whatever card you discover, you can't use anyways. Same with Shadow Word Pain. It's another 1 cost mana card. That one kills any minion with 3 or less attack. You get to choose the minion. And then the Mind Control costs 9. So you need all 10 mana to use Anduin's Gift and Mind Control. But Mind Control takes control of whatever enemy minion you want. So can be handy. For the most part, I'm either using it to kill a minion or draw a card. The Mind Control I haven't needed so much. But we'll move on to the Clergy here. Pretty simple. All you do is heal it, and it helps you draw a card. Just helps you get through your deck quicker. And then we got Fan Club. We got 2 of these. Well, we've got 2 of pretty much everything. But we got the fan clubs, and those are very handy for later in the game. Not so much early in the game. I guess maybe if you're struggling on getting some cards you need, and you got a clergy out, you could use it. And if you're hurting on some damage, because that also heals you. It heals all your minions and you. Flash heal is huge. I recommend hopefully saving these for your bigger minions in the end, and you don't need them for yourself. And same with Funnel Cake. This is good to save for end game, but early game it can be handy too because it refreshes your mana crystals and it's healing your minions. All of this healing is very crucial to have at the end game or after you've already got Heartbreaker, or there's a board clearer here, the Injured Hauler. But we'll go over those in a minute. So you don't want to just burn all this healing in the beginning. This is very handy because you're getting a copy. Always forge this, in my opinion. Otherwise, you're wasting a whole extra minion you could be getting. And if you get the right minion, it could be huge. So you're going to get 3 choices, and hopefully you get an Injured Hauler. You get a Heartbreaker would be really good. I've done that once, and that's amazing because you still have one in your deck. Or Raza you don't want. I mean, unless you're like really hurting for that free hero power cycle. But honestly, it's not worth getting if you can get Heartbreaker or the Hauler or even your Titan. The Drifter, I mean, maybe if you're struggling on defensive, but he'll come, and hopefully by the time you need him, he costs 0 for you. So anyways, back up to the copy. I would highly recommend trying to get either the Hauler or the Heartbreaker, because them 2 are key to making this deck work. The Hidden Gem, I personally don't ever attack with this guy. I just let him sit there stealth, and he keeps healing at the end of every turn, which can be huge if you have certain cards out. Now this one is a finale. It doesn't have to be used depending on your situation, but if you can get it in as a finale, it's always a bonus because, obviously both get +1/+2. And the finale being it has to be your final mana cost. So to be able to get that finale to trigger, it'll be the final 2 mana. And also the card will glow like yellow. So Sing Along Buddy is kind of interesting. That's a newer card. You'll see why we play around with the hero power so much. Well, obviously with Raza and Sing Along Buddy, it's almost like a machine gun. This guy's nice to get out in the early stages. That way you can hopefully get some bandages in your hand. And the reason, like I said, why we're getting to all this healing. I mean, you can use very little to draw some cards, but you're gonna want it for the hauler because he's, as you see, every time you overheal him, you deal 2 damage to all enemy minions, and it's a great board clear because you can overheal him hopefully more than once in a turn. So ideally when you put him out, you can do a flash heal right off, and that'll get him back to full health, and it gives him an overheal, so it does the 2 damage to all enemy minions. And now let's just say you had only 1 mana left, and hopefully he's not your only minion on the board. You would throw a funnel cake out there, and that would cause him to overheal again. So that would deal another 2 damage to everybody on the enemy board. And you also get back, if you had 3 minions that all got overhealed, you would get back 3 mana crystals. Now keep in mind that's a refresh. That's not, so you don't want to do this with full mana because you're not going to gain mana crystals. It only refreshes spent mana crystals. So don't do that in the beginning of your turn thinking you're going to get, 3 extra mana. But he's very handy for board clear, and that's why you want to have some of this healing in your hand. Paper Cut Angel is amazing on top of the Raza, and if you can manage to keep out a Sing Along Buddy, like you can just, if you had a Sing Along Buddy with a Paper Cut Angel and you've already casted a Raza, because after Raza dies, your hero power still will recycle every time, and it like pretty much turns it into a machine gun. Now Pip, you've only got 1 of them, but if you can manage to get Pip out early and have 1 or 2 flash heals in your hand, a funnel cake, and maybe even a gift. I mean, you don't want to fill your hand too much. That's a problem that I've ran into before, is when you get too many 1 cost. So you got to look at what you're, but it's going to copy each 1 cost card in your hand. So you got to count your cards and make sure you can make it work without overfilling your hand. And now Heartbreaker is the one that I usually get the killing blow with, because just like the injured hauler, it's the same way. If you've got copies of it from the creation protocol, then it can really get amazing. I had 2 of these guys out in 1 game and was able to cast a funnel cake on both of them because they were next to each other, and they were both already full healed, and so it triggered, that's 10 damage. It's 5 damage and it's random. It could go to a minion or it could go to the hero. If he's got no minions out, it's going to the hero every time. So it don't take long. I mean, 3-4 overheals and you're already over half their life gone. So it's a pretty amazing card. There's only 1 in your deck, so hopefully you can copy it either with the creation protocol or the other one there. This one, Power Chord Synchronize, and hopefully get another one in your hand because the enemy's gonna try to kill this pretty quick. Raza, we kind of already went over. The Thirsty Drifters, just to help you with some defense, and we got so many 1-cost cards that hopefully by the time you need him, he's either extremely cheap or free. So, and that's pretty much all he is a little defense to hopefully keep these other guys up. And then your Titan, you got to use that on certain, when it gets crazy. Depending on if they don't got like 2 enemy minions that are just, you're not going to drop them, and you need, because most of the time you're using them for Strike for History. I mean, that's just so powerful that how can you not use it? Especially when they put a Titan out that's got however much health. But with this deck, you could always copy uh, the Heartbreaker, and if you got a bunch of healing in your hand and maybe a funnel cake, because I know we're getting up there on the mana cost, but if this is like an end game and you got 10 mana, you could always put this guy out and copy a Heartbreaker and see what you can pull off. I've done like 25 to 30 damage on one turn. It was just, I amazed myself with how much this is like super powerful setup. I will say that it's a little tricky to get down, but that's kind of what makes it fun. It's like a challenge, you know. Obviously, we all like the easy wins, and you're going to get those with this deck, no doubt about it. But it's an interesting deck to try to get to work, but very rewarding when you do get it to work. It's just one of those decks that it leaves a smile on your face after you get the win. So hopefully you guys enjoy it as much as I do, and keep on healing.